Hey guys, Mirrormask here. I got a treat for you guys today. It took me a while to get back into the game, roughly about a week, 6, 7 days. I had the server full message and everything. And I wanted to make a video because I got a couple people that emailed me on YouTube and wanted to know if I had any tips on making Gil in Final Fantasy XIV. A Realm Reborn? And the answer is yes. I'm going to show you guys a method, and this isn't for the guys who know how to go out and make 50,000 Gil in a day and don't need any help. This is for the guys that just can't seem to make Gil. You know what I mean? It's for the guys that just are horrible at making Gil in the game. I'm going to show you guys the exact method that I use to make my Gil. As you can see, I've got about 104,000 Gil. Now keep in mind, I haven't been able to play the game in like 7 days. So, I mean, this is the Gil I had when I left, when the game, wouldn't let me get back in for 7 days. But, yeah, this isn't going to be one of those videos where I go through a 15-minute video talking blah, 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 blah. And then at the very end of the video, I tell you guys, oh, by the way, if you want to know how to do this, go to this website and buy this guide. No, it's not going to be that. I'm going to show you guys exactly what I do in this video. By the time this video is over, you guys are going to know exactly how to make Gil guaranteed. This method I'm going to teach you is about you find specific items that are in high demand that no one wants to go out and farm. Now, I know you may think, oh, well, I mean, so it's some rare item I got to go out, and it takes a whole lot of work to farm, and that's why no one wants to do it. No, this does not take really any work at all to farm. It's 100% chance every single time that you're going to get these items. So let's get into it. I'm going to take you guys exactly to the area that I go to farm these items at. First of all, let's go to the message board. I'm going to show you guys how to use the message board if you're not familiar with it. Now, you will need a retainer to be able to even list stuff on here, but chances are you'll figure that out on your own. I mean, you just do your storyline, you'll get a retainer. Alright, down here, this is for the guys that don't know how to use the message board. Down here in the items, these are where you would flip through and search for each individual item. And then once, say for example, you click on materials, you'll see a list and you'll see a number. Well, this number over here on this side is for how many people are listing that specific item. Like strength materia 2, level 2. There's 13 of them. So if we click that, there'll be 13 of them listed. This is the price it's going for per individual quantity. And this is the total that you'll pay. That's kind of self-explanatory, I know, but some people, don't even fool around with the message board, and this video is for you guys. So let's jump into it. I'm going to take you to the path, the exact path that I use in-game. Now, this method is super simple. You don't even have to be a high-level gatherer. And I'll explain why it works this way. When people first start an MMO, they're trying to dominate or corner a market. And in order to do that, you have to keep rising with the different tiers of that whatever said crafting skill is you have. Like if you're a miner, you want to keep leveling your mining so you can gather those higher materials, those higher tier materials, because people need those materials. But what a lot of people do, and this is tactics that gold farmers use and people that know what they're doing use, is this method that I'm going to show you in this video is exactly the same process that the big guys use. And here's how it works. As the majority, I'd say 90% of the population of a game keeps rising the level of what they're doing, they tend to forget the lower level tier stuff that people still need. As a matter of fact, the way this game works, there's certain items in Final Fantasy XIV that you can take X amount of a certain item and turn it into a higher tier item. So that's the whole method behind this, is we're taking the lowest possible tier of an item and we're farming that. Why? Because the people who have already, the 90% who have already out-leveled all this stuff, they don't want to come back to these low levels and farm these items. They'd rather go to the auction house or to the market board and buy the items. That's where you come into play. That's where you make your gil at. That's where I make my gil at. And it works very well because there's not a whole lot of competition of people doing this. Alright, so let's keep going here. Extremely short path here. You're not going to be out here for 10, 20 hours farming this stuff. You're not even going to be out here for 5. You can farm this stuff as long as you want. You want to come out here and farm these things for 30 minutes? That's fine. You'll get enough to make a decent amount of gil. I'm going to go ahead and mute my vent there so we don't have all the background noises and stuff coming in. Alright, now the exact items that we are going to be farming are going to be ice shards and wind shards. It's very simple how this works. You run up to a tree. See, these are only level 5 trees, level 5 and 10 trees in this area, and I'll show you exactly where I'm at on the map. We're going to be in this area, in the central shroud, right outside the gate. And that's all you need to do. You need to just stay in this little area. These things respawn pretty fast. Now I see a lot of people just standing beside a tree. You'll see them in game. They just sit there by the tree. What they're doing is they're running some type of macro that clicks on the tree and clicks in the same spot to farm the shard. While it may work for a little while, eventually you guys are going to get banned. So don't do that. You know, I'm not recommending that you make some kind of macro. Plus, on top of that, if you stay at just one tree and farm just that one tree, people that are using the method that I'm using, where they're physically at their computer and bouncing between trees, are going to farm 5, 6, 7 times the shards that you farm in the same amount of time. So you'll just right click on it. You'll click once on ice shard, farm it. See, these are 100% chance here. See, this isn't no 60 or 50, 40, even 90% chance. No, you will get these shards every single time you click on them. You'll farm one ice, then you'll click one wind, then one ice, then one wind. And there you go. It's that simple. Now I'm going to show you just a short little path that I run personally. Alright, I'm going to go right up here to the gate where we come in at. Alright, you'll stand right here. You'll run straight down here. This tree sometimes will light up. This is your starting point. You have the big treant right there. You have this big tree, and you have this tree right here. This is where we're at on the map. There's the gate right here. We're right in between these two land masses. We'll go from here. We'll run down here. And you'll be able to see when you turn on your buff here, your triangulate, you'll see these trees light up. So I mean, you can see them from a distance, but this is just a general runaround path of where I go. I'll bounce from there, I'll go straight across here, and I just run this path over and over and over, and in less than 30 minutes I've got hundreds of these shards farmed up. We'll run down the road here, we'll turn left right here in between the big tree and the rock, farm those, come up around here, we'll drop back down between this little fence and this big tree, and then we'll run down this way. Now see, you'll get used to, after you run this, and you can modify this path however you want, guys. I mean, it's just, the trick is to stay on these lower level tier things in areas where a bunch of them are at, and respawn pretty rapidly, and it's right outside the gate, so you don't have to mount up and run all over the map or anything. No, you can make all your gil right here in this little area, and as you can see, there's not a lot of competition. We've got, what, 3, 4, 5 people over here? We'll loop back down through this way. So there's a tree there. And like I said in the past, I mean, there's a tree that spawns right up here too. Like I said in the past, I mean, you guys feel free to modify this however you want. If you don't want to run this exact route, you don't have to. This is just the route that I'm so used to running now that I can do it with basically with my eyes closed. Sometimes there'll be a tree down here around this water area, and I'll shoot down, I'll dip down like that, I'll pick that tree up, and then I'll come up here, keep an eye on the mini map here where I'm at. Now there's usually 3 or 4 in just this little area. This one, actually, this one right here lights up sometimes. This big one lights up. You have a couple level 10s. This one will light up. Sometimes this one will light up. And then one right down here. This one will light up a level 10 sometimes. And this one right here. And then, I mean, that's basically the route that I take, guys. And I farm hundreds, if not thousands of these sometimes in an hour. I mean, it doesn't take long at all to do this. You don't even have to be high level. I mean, I'm talking level 1 or 2 here. You can come here with level 1 or 2 botany and do this. And you guys can make a ton of gil. Now I'm gonna run back, and I'm gonna go to my bank because I didn't farm any right now. I just stored them in my bank. I'm gonna run to my bank. Well, not my bank, my retainer. Excuse me. And I'm gonna show you guys exact method that I use to list these things. It's super simple. Now this isn't going to be some get rich kind of thing, and to be honest guys, there's no such thing unless you're cheating some way or hacking some way or botting some way. There's no way in any game that you just make large sums of money out of thin air very rapidly. It takes a little bit of work, and in this case it doesn't take a whole lot of work, but as you can see, you have to do a little bit. You have to go out there, you have to run around, you have to farm these things. You're not just going to make gil out of thin air. So we're going to shoot up this way. I'm going to go back to the market. And I'm going to show you guys the exact method of undercutting that I use to list these things. And I'm going to give you some tips on undercutting so you don't completely kill the market for these items. Now, the reason I know that these are still selling really well is because they were selling well when I stopped playing the game 7 days ago. And then to my surprise, I came back to the game 7 days later only to find out that the value of these things had gone up. Why? Because of the exact reason that I told you earlier in the video. People have moved on, yet the demand is still there. It's just there's no suppliers. That's where you guys come in. That's where you dominate this lower level market and make a ton of gil doing it. Alright, we're going to go to the summoning bell here. First of all, let's go right here to the market board. We're going to look up crystals. And we're going to look up wind shards. Alright, we're going to get a pen and a piece of paper. And we see that these things are selling for 42. I mean, the lowest price is 42. And the quantity is 241. Now, you don't want to go listing for 241 or 1,000, or if you farm up 2,000, don't come to the market board and dump your 2,000 on the market at one time. You want to feed these things to the market. You want to feed them in 100 quantity increments. So we see that wind shards are at 42. Alright. Now, when you go to undercut, let me go ahead and get 100 wind shards out of my, or get over to my thing over here. I'm going to use my summoning bell. We're going to summon up our chick. Now see, right before I shot this video, I listed some ice shards. I've already sold them. By the time I walked out there, ran around and showed you guys this and came back, I've already sold 100 ice shards. I mean, there you go. That's like 4K right there. Cha-chink, that fast. And these things, I mean, you can see, I've been selling these things like crazy. 3,000, 4,000, 3,000, 3,000. I mean, anytime I get these, I shoot over here. I try to list them in 100 increments. If I don't have 100 at the moment, say only farmed and like my power went out or my internet went out and I only got 50, and I was able to get back into the game or something, I'll just throw those 50 on there, whatever I have at the moment. But what I've started doing, or what I started doing right before I left the game, was I started building these up. As you can see, if I go to my retainers inventory, I've already started building these up. And what you want to do is you want to just keep stockpiling these and feeding them in 100 quantity increments to the market. So what do we look at? Wind shards. Alright, so we're going to take wind shards. And we saw that the cheapest one was 42. We want to undercut. Let me go ahead and put this quantity to 100. We just want to undercut it by 1. You got to trust the market. See, a lot of guys, this is where they go wrong. They're in a hurry to sell their stuff very fast when they don't understand that it's already selling very fast. If you come over here and say these things are going for 42 and we decide, well, I want to sell mine fast, I'm going to go ahead and sell it for 20. 20 a piece. I'm going to undercut this thing by 22 gil. That is a huge undercut for something that's only going for 42 gil. You don't undercut it by 20. You don't undercut it by 10. Come in here, you undercut it by 1. It was going for 42. So we're going to list for 41. We're going to trust the market. Now see, when that sells, that's 4,100 gil in our pocket just like this. And trust me guys, this will sell very rapidly. So some pro tips here. Keep it simple. Don't go out and go for the most rarest things. Yeah, you may get a lot of gil in bursts. You may get 10,000 for this and then, you know, go a few days without getting anything else. And then get another rare item. Boom, there's another 10,000. but there's huge gaps. You see what I'm saying? There's huge gaps in between the times that you're actually making gill. This method right here, you follow this, guys, you'll have gill coming in every 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes. It's not hard to do. You go out, you put the time and effort in, you run around the map in the little area that you've set for yourself, farm these wind and ice shards, come back, list them in 100 quantity increments, and take your gill. It's that simple. When you go to undercut by 1 or 2. Don't go crazy and undercut by 10, 15, 20, because what you'll end up doing is you'll kill the market for whatever it is that you're farming, and you'll be the one that did it. Because what happens, say something's going for 50 and you decide, well, I want it to sell fast, I'm going to undercut for 30. And then someone comes along before yours has time to sell, and it never fails, guys. It always happens. It always happens. You undercut by 20. Someone comes right along right after you, 29, then 28, then 27. Now see, all this war going on here is pushing the price down, and it's burying it. It's making these things worthless, and it's all because some guy decided to come along and undercut by 20 instead of just 1, and let the fight take place up here around the 50 mark. Now it's taking place around the 20 mark, and 30 gill has been lost off that. So that's a pro tip right there for you guys. Don't go undercutting crazy amounts. Keep it simple. Put the time and effort in, and you guys will make a ton of gill, I promise you. Alright, well, that's it for now. You guys, subscribe to the videos if you like them. Like the videos, share them, comment on them, discuss any tips and tricks that you might have for making gill in Final Fantasy XIV in the comments below. And as always, guys, take care.